Well, we want to welcome you to this kind of very special edition of The Bridge. I want to thank Pastor Randy for making some time. This has been a crazy week. We just got out of a meeting a couple hours ago. We made some decisions. You can see us Southern Californians may not know what that is. It's actually rain, and quite a bit of it for us. So just kind of pulled Randy out of some meetings in the weather, but we felt like we have some really important information that we need to share. And starting off, we've made a decision about the worship services, both Sabbath School and church. What has that decision been?
We have, Stu. We care a lot about our community. We care a lot about this community in the larger context of the Inland Empire, Southern California, the country, and the world. And because of all the concerns, many of them legitimate, about COVID-19 right now, we're not going to be meeting as a congregation for worship this Sabbath. We still will have worship services available through our broadcast, and so we hope our friends and church members, community members will join us. 9 a.m., 11:45 a.m. for each worship service, 10:30 for Sabbath School. So that will be available. They will be able to worship from their homes, and so we'll be worshiping together as a community, but not in the sanctuary.
Yeah, that's one thing we're trying to make really clear. We're having the worship services on the broadcast, but we're not meeting in the sanctuary. That's true for Sabbath School and first service and second service. So,
when was the last time you heard a pastor look at a camera and say, "Please don't come to church"?
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't come to church.
It's definitely got to be a first, I think.
That's right.
Randy, obviously there's a lot of information going on out there, and you and I, we're not medical professionals, but I know we've reached out to the professionals on campus and our conference. We've consulted with a lot of different people. What's the bottom line of why we're doing this?
Well, it appears, and again, to underline what you just said, Stu, we're depending for information on the scientists, the physicians, others who deal with this regularly and who actually know what they're talking about, as opposed to you and me.
Right.
But they're telling us that close proximity of people right at this time is not a good idea. In fact, this is probably too close. They're saying they're saying 6 feet, and smaller. And in fact, the groups that they're talking about are getting smaller and smaller, and that is because they're trying to limit the possibility of a lot of transmission. And so as we've listened to the scientists, as we've listened to our government leaders, as we've listened to our church, because the Southeastern California Conference just made a statement today asking every church in the Southeastern California Conference to do what we have fallen in line with doing. So we're trying to be sensitive to all of that. The bottom line is it has two key factors to it. One is the care and the protection of people we love in our congregations, and two, limiting potential transmission to others.
Well, another concern we have is there is a particular population in our church, which we have a large population, that are kind of listed as the high risk, and this is our retired, more elderly. We want to make sure we kind of communicate to them what we're doing in this situation. Now we have Pastor Dan and Roger. We're actually going to be recording Pastor Dan. He's going to be communicating some information that you'll be able to find on our website. But talk to us a little bit, Randy, of kind of what we're having to do in terms of trying to meet their needs, even though some of the facilities where they live, we're not allowed to visit.
Right. So it seems like with every outbreak of a flu virus or whatever the case might be, there's an at-risk population that's more at risk than others are. In this particular case, like you mentioned, it is people whose years have mounted up. It is also people who are immunocompromised. It's people who maybe have diabetes. So there are a number of groups that are at particular risk.
Even people that have they may not be sick, but they have a family member sick.
Exactly. And so we want to be especially attentive to that. Loma Linda, because it's in Southern California and because it's around an Adventist center, is a natural place for people to want to retire. So we have many retirees in our community, many retirees in our congregation. So So we want to be especially attentive to that community that we love very deeply. As you mentioned, Stu, some may live in a retirement home or something like that, and a lot of these now are closing their doors and are saying, we don't want anyone from the outside, even hospitals.
Yeah, in fact, Pastor Roger said he went to a place and they would not let him in.
Absolutely.
He was going to visit a member and they wouldn't let him in.
So if you happen to be part of that particular population and you're not getting visits or hearing from us, there's a pretty good reason as to why. But if there's a need that you have, we want to be able to reach out to you. And so we need to know about that. We don't know about it unless somebody informs us. I think that we can probably put the phone number on the screen here, but it's 909-558-4570. That's the phone number of the church. So to let us know if there's some particular need that an individual, a couple has, family has, and that way we can respond to that.
That's right. Also, I think Linda Mendez, our director of UReach, they're making arrangements that if you need a ride for a doctor's appointment, Meals on Wheels, you're a member here, call the UReach office and you'll see that number as well. We're really trying to do everything that we can to help. I know Pastor Roger, Pastor Dan, and Pastor Darrell are going to be trying to reach out to you via phone and in different ways. And like I mentioned, on our website, we're going to have also a message from Pastor Dan to give you more information if you kind of fall into that group.
So we want to do anything we can to be of support, of care, of help to our congregation as a whole, but in particular to those who might be uniquely affected by this.
Absolutely. Because so many of those are dedicated members. They come every Sabbath.
We love them.
We're going to miss, it's going to be strange this Sabbath with no one there, so we're going to be looking at you, looking out there and thinking of you guys. One other thing, we're really not sure what the future is in terms of, as if you've been watching the news at all, it changes minutes almost.
It does. At one point they're saying hour by hour, and I've concluded it's not even that slow. It's changing at times every few minutes.
Which is why we kind of pulled you from being, and we just did this interview real quickly to get some information out there because it felt it was important. But we're going to be looking at this on a week-to-week basis. And how are we going to communicate to the congregation about those updates?
Right. So we know that we're not meeting for worship this Sabbath.
We'll broadcast,
we're not
meeting.
Correct. And the indications are that that may be the case for a number of weeks. We have intentionally chosen, Stu, however, to say that we at Loma Linda University Church are going to go on a week-by-week basis because we don't know the future. And we want to be able to be lithe enough and nimble enough that we can make a change any given week if that's available to us. So on a week-by-week basis, we will be informing our congregation, letting our congregation know what's happening. Best way by far is to go to the website. The website, we will do our very best to keep updated information available. So as people check in, they can find out maybe about a range of things, but certainly including whether or not they're going to be live, not so much live, but worship services where people can come and join us in worship on any given Sabbath. And that's just LLUC.org.
Yeah, because there's so many ministries and things going on in our church campus that it's just too many places, and we're going to have staff in the office that can answer the phones, but as you might imagine, just when we announced that we were not doing the church service, the office was just inundated with calls. So if you do happen to have a need to call or not able to get through, call back. We're trying to staff it. I know the pastors are planning to possibly even help deliver meals, all kinds of things. So we're trying to plan as best as we can on a very short notice to get things in order. Well, Randy, I really appreciate you kind of carving out a little time.
Sure, absolutely.
And I know we really want to communicate how much the members in our community are important to us. Kind of one last kind of comment as we're trying to deal with this complex. Spiritual life is important, but the health of our community as well.
Absolutely.
Physical health.
We're Seventh-day Adventists, and as Seventh-day Adventists, we have throughout much of our history owned the fact that God cares about our physical being, our physical body. He cares about our health, our wellness. And so we're reflecting that, along with many others, but it's uniquely important to us. So you matter to us. We care about your health and well-being. Stay tuned. As soon as we feel it's legitimately an open door, we will open the sanctuary doors, and we will love to welcome you back to worship at Loma Linda University Church.
Yeah, we know every pastor loves preaching to empty pews, right?
It's very strange.
Yeah. No, seriously, we really love you, and definitely communicate with us if you have any questions. The best place is our website, LLUC.org. We'll be trying to put information up as soon as we have it. But we thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you this week on the broadcast here at the Loma Linda University Church.